Dear Mr. Sanders, my name is Holly. First, thank you for your videos. I am 9 years old and we are going to get a German Shepherd and we are going to name her Roxy. I have a request, please. If you have the time, of course, will you do a tips on potty training video? I think we can do that, boys. What you think? What you think? Can we do the tips on potty training? Can we do the tips? Yeah. All right, so if we go to the park first, then we can do it? All right, fair enough. Well, I don't remember this door going straight into the woods, do you? I'm almost positive this door didn't used to go straight into the woods, but I'll confirm with the wifey later, I guess. In the meantime, Pups and I are gonna go on a hike. It's not the way I wanted to come back, but random person and the dog came out of nowhere. That's all right. What's a little mud between pups? We'll go home now, work on Holly's video, teach potty training. I know you're potty trained, but we're gonna teach. Guess it's on me. Boys doing all right? Yeah, doing okay? Got the worn outs? We're gonna break this down into 4 parts. The first is discussing the importance of a routine. The second is discussing the difference between nighttime and daytime potty training tips. The third is what to do when an accident does happen, because they will happen. And the fourth is general tips that helped us. So routine is the most important. It's your most valuable asset in either potty training or any type of training. Until you are perfect at this, or rather your pup is, I would avoid deviation from routine at all costs. All right, some routines that we used to help. First, we used the same door every time. In fact, we used this door because it was the closest. After going out the same door, we went to the same spot in the yard every time. We had him on a leash. Yep, your ball rolled away. So sad. We had him on a leash, we went to the same spot. We always made sure we had training treats in our pockets with us. The moment they were done pottying, we gave them a treat, we said good boy. Or in your case, it might be good girl, but whatever. You do not want to wait until you come inside. By then, they've already forgotten. They don't have a very long memory when it comes to associating why they got a treat, which is also why punishing them, we'll talk about that in a moment, but that's why that doesn't work either. Lastly, keeping their feeding schedule consistent as well. Consistently going in at the same time, consistently coming out at the same time. More or less the idea. All right, once we've established the routine, let's talk actual potty training. Puppies can typically hold it for 1 hour per month they've been alive. So you pick up most puppies around 8 to 10 weeks. You're looking at about 2 months old, they can hold it for about 2 hours. Now keep in mind when sleeping, this doesn't necessarily hold true. They can obviously sleep for a lot longer in those situations. They will hold it for longer. But when they are awake and active, 2 hours or 1 hour per month. Now, some things to keep in mind is when they wake up, you always go potty, no matter what. When they finish eating, you go potty, no matter what. When they wake up from a nap, you go potty. When they get finished playing, like an exercise round or, you know, whatever, you go potty. It's just whenever you finish one activity, you go potty, essentially. Puppy pads, never a good idea. All right, let's go over some tips for them. When going to bed for a puppy, no water 2 hours before bedtime. We don't want to have any accidents. I'm pretty sure you had some accidents as a puppy. Okay, well, we'll just have to agree to disagree. So nighttime training is similar, but I want to go over a few different things. First, no water 2 hours before bedtime. Also, during this time, I would try to keep them engaged and awake. I wouldn't go to extreme measures, but I wouldn't also like encourage them to cuddle up or get in their crate and go to sleep. I'd maybe try to give them some toys or something to keep them mentally engaged. Now, you don't want them to be like exhausted. You don't want them running around or anything because then they're going to be thirsty, and that's not fair. You don't want to make them dehydrated. But maybe just like a light chew toy or something, or just sit there and pet them. You know, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I said, you don't want them running around or anything. Now, Lotus, he had that. Now, when actually going to bed, right before you go to bed, you take them out the potty. When you come in, they go straight to the crate. Now, whether or not you want to keep the crate in the bedroom is up to you at night. When they were potty training, we did. Now, I'm not going to carry it up here, but we would put it in the corner, so if you imagine, it means that something isn't real. Well, I know your crate is real. It's just, it's not in this room, it's downstairs, so we're imagining that it's up here. All right, this is exactly how we did it. So no imagining, doing the real thing. All right, so this is exactly how we did our crate. Right here, same spot, everything. This way, they wake up in the middle of the night. If you're a heavier sleeper, you hear them versus setting an alarm. You come right out, you get them. I would suggest picking them up, honestly, if you can, and then just carrying them straight outside before you put them down because they are on a mission when they get up in the middle of the night, and it is to go potty. Happy now? Yeah, I know you don't sleep in the crate anymore. I brought it up because you were having trouble imagining. Seriously? Seriously. Now if, or more like when, you wake up in the middle of the night to take them potty, heed my words very carefully. Head straight for the door. If possible, carry them, but go straight for the door. Do not stop, do not deviate, do not pass go. Go straight to the door and outside. If you stop, they will pee. Furthermore, don't talk to, don't pet, really just don't engage your pup in any way other than once they go potty, if you want to give them a quiet, like, oh, good boy or good girl. Otherwise, you want to keep things very low key, very calm. You want to keep lights to a minimum. You don't want them to have any inclination that is a time to get up and have fun and play and start the day. You gonna carry this crate back downstairs or I have to do it? If you remember only one thing from this entire video, remember this. When, not if, when they have an accident, it is your fault. It is not their fault. It is not your kid's fault. It is not your spouse's fault. It is not your parents' fault. It is 100% your fault. So, if you mess up and allow an accident to happen, here's a few things to keep in mind. If possible, you can try to interrupt them. You can make a sudden noise like a clap or, you know, something like this, or like, hey, or don't do that. But you don't want to scream. You don't want to scream because it's very important not to scare them. You don't want them to associate fear with going to the bathroom or fear with going to the bathroom around you. Now, if you do manage to interrupt them, you could even use like a keyword if you wanted to say like outside or whatever word you're gonna use to designate that. If you do interrupt them and you take them outside, you pick them up, you get them outside right away, if they go at all, even just a little bit right after that, even if they did 99% of it in the house, if they go just that last 1% outside, everything else holds true. You praise them, you give them the treat, all that good stuff. But when it comes to accidents, the statute of limitations is immediate. If you don't catch it as it's happening, there's nothing you can do. You don't want to punish them. You don't want to rub their nose in it. You don't want to do any of that silly stuff. It doesn't do any good. They don't understand why you're upset. They don't understand what's going on. All of that nonsense is useless and potentially harming. Seriously. Don't take it out on him. You're slap happy. You need to take a nap. It literally does no good to punish them and could ultimately do harm. They could learn to associate going to potty as a bad thing, or they could associate it with doing it around you as a bad thing, whether you're inside or outside. So even if you go outside, they could still associate that stuff. Now, what you can do is clean it up thoroughly. If you have hardwood floors, it's obviously gonna make it easier. If you have any rugs down, I would suggest just picking them up for the first several months. If you don't have hardwood or they go in a carpeted area, you wanna clean it as thorough as possible. The issue is that no matter how much you clean it, there's still a chance they could smell it. And if they smell it, they're gonna associate it with a place that they can go potty again, and you're more likely to see repeated accidents. So what I would suggest is, in the event of an accident, get a little carpet cleaner. I'll link some down below, like some little handheld ones that you could use in situations like this that just kind of have on hand for like the little accidents. You know, obviously you want to soak it up well. You want to use some sort of spray neutralizer. And honestly, if it were me, unless it's like in a really awkward place, a lot of times they tend to go more towards closer to a wall or something like that. I would even block the area off for a time just so they can't get to it, so they can't smell it, or at least smell at that spot and be tempted to do it again. I plan to go somewhere else to discuss these tips, but honestly, they're both being calm right now, and I don't want to move. I don't even want to move enough to show you on camera, so I'm gonna shoot this little part on my iPhone here, in case you can't see them. I'm pretty sure you can't see Lotus at all. All right, so let's go over some final tips. As I mentioned before, you never want to deviate when going on a bathroom run. You know, I had mentioned using the same door as part of their routine, but the other benefit to that is if you always use the same door, you can have all your stuff there and ready to go. The handful of times that either one of them had accidents, it was always something silly like, I forgot my shoes, or it's raining and there's no umbrella, or the treats weren't by the door, they got left somewhere else. So what I would suggest is have a dedicated leash, a dedicated umbrella, some dedicated shoes or sandals even that you can just throw on real quick, a dedicated bag of treats, all this stuff right there by the door. So that way at any time, if you need to get them out in a hurry, and there's gonna be those times where you gotta get them out in a hurry, you can just go and know that it's all right there and good to go. I've taken them out barefoot, in the rain, at night, in the snow. Doesn't matter because I missed one of these things, or the umbrella wasn't there, or my shoes weren't there, because you really don't want to deviate. In addition to this, I would restrict their freedom. So they are den animals, and that's why they like crates, which we're not gonna get into crate training. You want them to see the entire house as their den. And if you give them free access to the entire house in the beginning, even a small house like ours, it's very easy for them to go into another room or an area and go to the bathroom there, because that's far enough away from them that they're not worried about, because to them, they don't need a den this big. What we did was we generally started with like 2 rooms. We'd have like a living room area and our bedroom were like the only 2 rooms they were really allowed in. Maybe the kitchen, if we were in there, we would block them in there with us, but we never gave them a lot of free roam. And we also never left them unattended. You know, all it takes is a split second for them to have an accident, and then you gotta deal with all the cleanup and the repercussions, and then if you have carpet, it's even worse. I just wouldn't mess with it. Now, as they get older and you get more trust in them and you have little to no accidents and you wanna slowly expand that area out, I would suggest that. I mean, you don't wanna wait years to do this. I would try to do it quickly, but at the same time, you don't wanna rush it. So you kinda gotta take a feel on that and kind of feel things out and see how it's going. There's nothing wrong with opening up a little bit more space. Maybe they have an accident, you restrict it back a little, you know, that happens. And lastly, I kind of touched on this already, but any rugs, floor mats are for cars, but any rugs or just anything you have down, bathroom mats, anything like that you can pick up, I would. Better safe than sorry, and you don't have to deal with it. Assuming you have hardwood floors. Now, if you have carpet, yeah, if anything, the rugs might help, I don't know. Otherwise, I hope you guys got some usefulness out of this video. The pups are still passed out. But yeah, I hope you guys got some usefulness out of this. Holly, I hope it answered your questions. If anybody has any further questions or anything, definitely comment below. Otherwise, appreciate you guys as always. We'll see you on the next video. I guess I'm gonna have to clean up on my own because they're passed out now. Just gonna put that crate back. Can I just sleep here? I just kind of, maybe I can just kind of lean back. No. All right, so you're awfully close to the couch there. Seriously. And if you remember only... So, if you mess up, we don't have to do it every time. Oh my gosh. Seriously. Seriously. It literally, you're getting to be too much. Take your dino and go over there. Don't get the starts. You need to chill. If you remember from this video, when they have an accident, it is... No, you need to chill. Lotus. Oh, you sleepy? I don't... Why does it take you 3 hours to make a 5-minute video? I don't know. Well, maybe you should take your pups and wear them out ahead of time. I can see the red in your eyes. I know you're tired. Yes, you are.